Fantasy Philosophers is brought to you by fantasy-info.com.
Let's take a look at some of the start and bench options that we have here for week 2 of the 2010 fantasy football season. For some of the starters, we're looking at Mike Vick for the Eagles. I'm assuming here that Kevin Kolb is probably not going to be playing this week. The Eagles obviously had their issues with concussions with Brian Westbrook a year ago, so I'm figuring Kolb was probably out. Look for Vic to have a good day against the Detroit Lions. So if you need him, if you had Kolb as a starter, then get Vic as fast as you can so that he can be an option for you and have a good day. Next, we've got Darren McFadden. We talked about him on waiver wires. If he was even out in your league available, that's a guy you definitely should have jumped on first. But also with McFadden this week, he has the St. Louis Rams playing at home, so he's got a good opportunity here. Even if Michael Bush does come back this week, McFadden's going to dominate the touches after his performance last week where he had 150 total yards and a touchdown. He should definitely have himself a nice day for your team. Calvin Johnson, I do have him. I put him down as a starter. Obviously, he's a fantasy stud, but I wanted to make the point. I know that he didn't necessarily bottom line. He didn't have production very much last week. He was non-existent in the first half. He should have had a touchdown in that game. Actually, would have been the one to win it for him. That was unfortunate, but bottom line, he didn't get it done. I would say you also look at Shaun Hill. Shaun Hill in the second half of that game when he had the opportunity to get in there, hey, he makes that touchdown with him. Calvin's going to have about 70, 80 yards and a touchdown in that game, and he was highly productive in the second half. And I make that point just to say 2 years ago, Calvin Johnson had a rotating door of quarterbacks, and he was one of the more productive receivers and consistent in the game. So look for Calvin to still be a starter. Don't get too shaky. It sucks that Stafford's out, but still Calvin can be a good productive receiver for your squad. Bench options that we have, C.J. Spiller, very disappointing week 1. He's going to be inconsistent a lot of times. I thought the Dolphin game with the injuries to the other running backs, that would be a good game for him. He'd get a lot of touches. He sure did not have any production, and so I would keep him on your benches, especially against the Green Bay Packers this coming week. Another player that was highly disappointing was Michael Crabtree. There was expectations for him to have a good season this year, but boy, he really, we saw some of the signs in preseason when Vernon Davis was calling him out, and there was a talked about fight between the two. And it was basically with Crabtree, it was really, hey, why are you not on the field? Why are you not practicing? Or at least not playing in the preseason games. And so it transferred over into the regular season. There was one play where there was an interception, and he didn't try to make an effort to run the defender down, and Mike Singletary did note that he saw that. He was obviously not in sync with Alex Smith. One play even went off of his hand, and it was picked off. He just did not look right, and so he needs to prove himself that he's back and ready to go and ready to be a guy in your fantasy lineups, let alone prove himself to his teammates.
For more fantasy football information, go to fantasy-info.com and sign up for our free e-newsletter. Good luck in your 2010 Fantasy Football League. As an added bonus, the Fantasy Info guys will include their 5 secret tips for success in fantasy football with your free subscription.